Off-season madness. Here we go. Off-season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. And who am I here with?
It's Mayzo. It's all about Big Blue. Here
Yes,
we
it is.
are in our
Yes, sir.
off-season, and this is what we get excited about. This is our Super Bowl right now. It's about
Yes.
the draft.
Yes.
It's
The
about
mock
the
draft.
draft
So
right
we're
now.
starting something new. We're starting something new that we like to call mock draft Mondays.
Mock draft
Uh,
Monday. I like
yes, yes. And I hope the fans and viewers will join us in the spirit of, again, as you said, this is our Super Bowl. The offseason is our time to shine with our third overall pick and
that.
cap money to spend next year on free agents. So we're going to take a look Mondays, once a week, at some mock draft simulators just to see what we would do if we were Joe Shane. Mayzo, how you feel about that?
I'm with that, and I tell you this: if I was Joe Shane, first I would be saying, "Thank you, Lord, for let me keep my job." After I allowed Mr. Barkley to go down I-95. But yeah, I like this though. This is good. This is really good because everybody, we all have like ideas of who we should pick. How we want to do it. Who should be on the Giants next year. Of course, we all want a QB. Or
At
we
least, at
want
least
better
one.
players. We want to win this year. We want to win next year. So I'm with this.
We would like to win more than 3 games, right? We've gone from 9 to 6 to 3. I don't like that progression.
No, not at all. Not
I
at
know
all.
what the next number is in that progression, and I don't think I can handle that.
No.
So we need to turn that back around and be on the upswing.
It's that time. It's that time.
All right. So I'm gonna take a look at PFF.com. Shout out to PFF. Thank you so much for having this technology and their mock draft simulator. And let's see if we were in charge of the draft, what would we do? How would we handle this? So as you see, I've chosen the Giants, meaning we will make the picks for the Giants. And I know a lot of our fans already probably do this kind of thing, but for those who don't, these mock draft simulators will pick the other 31 teams players for us. We just have to pick the Giants. And I'm telling it that we want to do a 3-round mock.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can tell it how many rounds you want. You can go up to 7 if you want to. But we're going to do 3 rounds today. Is that cool, Mayzo?
3 is good, but first time we do it, 3 is fine. I like that.
Excellent. Now, with this particular one, again, shout out to PFF. What they offer is, so they have their own, what they call big board. They have their own ranking of players.
Okay.
But they know that the public doesn't always agree with them. So they give you the option of deciding if you want to use their big board or the public's big board or some combination. I'm going to put it right about in the middle and say, let's split the difference.
Okay.
They also know that there are some people who do use what they call the positional value pyramid. So they're asking you, do you want us to do this as though we have the positional value pyramid in mind, or do you want to do draft for needs? So I'm going to say a little bit more positional value than draft for needs, but some draft for needs as well. And
we got a lot of needs.
Random,
That's the only thing.
Say again?
We got a lot of needs.
We have a lot of needs. We have a lot of needs, right? The positional value pyramid almost doesn't matter for us because we need everything.
Right.
All right. So those are the settings that I'm going to choose, and I'm doing it at like half speed, not even half speed, because I want to be able to see the names of the players that are being drafted. All right, I'm going to enter the draft. Let's begin. And you see over here in the top left, it is picking Shedeur Sanders first and Cam Ward second.
Oh man.
Not shocking, right? Would you agree that most people think that those two are going first and second in some order?
Well, yeah, because a lot of places are saying, the 2 QBs are going first, but then, there's, I guess there's maybe a smoke screen. There's some people saying that, like the Browns are not going to pick a quarterback. And that's, I don't know how, I think that's a smoke screen, definitely.
Right. And I think it's also clickbait. I think that a lot of people who are writing and saying those things are just writing and saying those things to be controversial and to get you to read their story or listen to, their article or whatever. I mean, read the article, listen to their story. It would be shocking to me if Tennessee and Cleveland don't pick quarterbacks as badly as they need quarterbacks.
Right. Unless one of them thinks, Somebody thinks that there's a bridge quarterback out there for him that's going to be better than, you know,
Right,
like Justin Fields. No.
right, right. Obviously, that's possible. If they sign one in free agency that they think they can move forward with, then yes, then maybe they won't pick one. I have a feeling that they're going to sign one and pick one,
Right.
which is
I
what I
agree.
think we should do, to be honest.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
But for today's mock draft Monday, those two guys are gone. Those are not our options anymore. But what we could do, you see over here, it says Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Teswar McMillan, et cetera. It's showing you the people in descending order of what PFF thinks their talent level is and draft worthiness is, or we could trade down. So I'm going to click for a
Well,
second
wait,
on the word trade
before you trade down, can we talk
Mhm.
about our needs right now before we go? Like we need a QB. I'm putting an order I'm thinking about. We need QB. We can use a cornerback. We can use defensive lineman, like an edge rush. No, someone to go along with Dexter,
With Dexter, right? Hey,
defensive
so this,
tackle.
you should make the list of what we don't need is much shorter.
You're right. You're right.
We're pretty good at wide receiver one and at nose tackle. We're pretty good at left tackle when he's healthy, and we're pretty good at right tackle now.
And that's
I'm
it.
not sure there's a whole lot more that we're that good at. We have a decent edge rusher, I guess, above average edge rusher in Brian Burns. I'd say a good edge rusher, a good middle linebacker. There's not a whole lot we have good, and a probably fairly good running back. He's a rookie, so we don't really know how good he's going to be, but he showed flashes.
All right.
But here up
Okay.
here at the top right, you see this is what PFF lists as our needs. They say we need a quarterback, a tackle, and a defensive back. I mean, again, there's only room for three things,
Right.
but the list could have been a lot longer.
Right. Okay. So you're thinking about trading down right now?
No, I just want to show you what the options are.
Okay.
So if I click on trade, it shows you teams that, according to this algorithm, they think would be willing to trade with us based on a few things, including who already has been drafted, right? With those two quarterbacks gone, I guess there's certain teams that they theoretically would say, well, they're not going to want to trade up anymore because the quarterbacks are gone. But the next one that they're saying they'd be willing to do a trade with us is Jacksonville at 5,
Really?
and the Raiders at 6, and then San Francisco at 11. So basically, they're saying 7, 8, 9, 10. Those teams, the Jets, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bears, probably wouldn't want to trade with us. So if we wanted to make a trade, we would click on this, and let's say that we decided we would trade back to 6, so
Okay.
we could ask for a little bit more back from the team that we're trading with.
Oh
You
yeah.
click on our third pick, their sixth pick. Clearly, that's just the swap. But what would we want in addition to that? Mayzo, what do you think we should ask for either this year's draft, next year's draft, or the year after? You see, we can go ahead all the way down to 2027.
We
What
couldn't
should
get
we ask
we
for
couldn't get
in
a second.
exchange for making this swap?
We
Let's see.
couldn't
If
get
we
the
click on their
second.
second, you see down, it says this trade will likely be accepted. So according to this algorithm, we could ask for their second round pick. And that green bar there is completely filled. This trade will likely be accepted. It means we should ask for more. So let's say we ask for next year's first round pick. Now you see that green bar is gone. It says this trade
No
has an
way.
11% chance to be accepted. So
Right.
they think we've asked for too much. But we could counter. We could say, all right, well, what if we gave you a second round pick? Now, what does it say? This trade has a 60% chance to be accepted. Again, their algorithm is trying to estimate what it would take to make the trade fair to both teams and then make it happen. So I think this is a reasonable place if we're going to make a trade
Okay.
to make the trade, right? We're only moving back 3 spots. We're picking up a second round pick, which is very valuable at number 37.
Right.
And we're swapping next year's second for a first. We'd have 2 first round picks next year.
I like that then. Okay. Okay.
So let's offer that trade. I'm clicking right here, offer the trade. Trade was accepted. So
Woo!
I'm going to say resume the draft. And then you'll see the picks get made. So they picked Travis Hunter
Oh,
with that pick we traded. Yeah, exactly. And then they're saying that the Patriots picked Will Campbell and the Jaguars picked Abdul Carter.
I
So if you
wanted
had
Carter
hopes,
too.
I was going to say, if you had hoped that we would be able to get Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, they're both gone now. But again, we have an extra first round pick next year, and we have an extra second round pick this year. Let's see how it plays out before we give up. So
Give me Mason.
again, here's the players that are still on the board, so to speak. And I know sixth overall is pretty high for a defensive tackle, but in my mind, Mason Graham wouldn't be a bad decision at all at this point.
We need
How
him.
do you feel about that?
Let me see who we got. Mason Graham is there, and Pierce, Molesky, Starks. No, Sexy Dexy. We need somebody to go sit beside him.
That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
going to set our whole defense right there. I'll set the line.
Right. And I'm not saying Mason Graham's going to be as good as Dexter Lawrence. I'm not saying he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, but I think he's going to be a very solid. The person I equated him to, not equate, but the person he reminds me of a little bit is Dalvin Tomlinson. When we had Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle, that was a solid middle. You know, he wasn't going to get a whole lot of sacks, but he was going to stop the run and make sure you double teamed him so the linebackers could come up and make some tackles. And so let's do that. Let's draft Mason Graham.
Yeah, because we didn't have that this year. We had a gaping hole in the middle.
Teams were double teaming him, Dexter on every play. All right, so you see Malachi Starks, then Mike Green, then Luther Burton, and like you're seeing who other teams are picking.
Oh, Kevin Ashton's gone, is he?
Kenneth Grant, who I like, is gone. Jack Sawyer's not bad, is gone. Not a bad option. Nick Scorton, who I really like, is gone. Jahdae Barron's gone. You know, Trey Amos is gone. This is what you expect. You expect the guys who you liked to not be there anymore. But now here we go with the pick number 34. And keep in mind, we also have pick number 37. So we got two picks coming up in a row that are pretty close to each other. By the way, you can click on your picks here and see what you've picked and what you have left. So our pick number in the first round was Mason Graham. We have pick number 34, pick number 37, and pick number 65 coming up. Right? Those should be good players too. So that's how this tool works. So I'm going to go back to the full draft and back to our pick. We are basically on the clock. There's no actual clock.
But we have 34 and 37 right now.
34 and 37. And then 65 in the third round.
Any good offensive lineman on there?
Well, let's take a look. So this is, to me, this is the best offensive lineman in the draft. I know there's not a lot of people who agree with me, but for my money, Wyatt Millen is the best offensive lineman in the draft. I would have taken him over Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks.
Wow. So
I agree with you. The line of scrimmage on both sides needs bolstering. So if you're comfortable with that, that's who I would pick. But just to scroll down, I mean, TJ Sanders and Walter Nolan are two pretty good defensive tackles, but we just took a defensive tackle. So I don't think we need another one.
No, we need.
Landon Jackson is a very good defensive end, and like he's a legit defensive end, not an outside linebacker, edge rusher. He's an actual defensive end. If you click on him, you see the man is very good against the run according to PFF. Not that they're always right. And solid against the pass. But more importantly, if you click on the first look, it gives you his physical stats. He's 6'7", 280. 6'7", 280 is a big boy. So he's a legitimate defensive end. Anyway, so you see there's a couple of people. JT Tuamalo is another legitimate defensive end from Ohio State. But I think Wyatt Millen strengthening the offensive line is a good call. You okay with that?
Get him.
All right. So we're taking Wyatt Millen. And then we are going to be back on the clock in a minute. Right? You see Walter Nolan and TJ Sanders, those two defensive tackles that I was just talking about. They were the next two people picked. So there's a lot of options left for us. Again, clicking on your picks, you see that what we've taken so far is Mason Graham and Wyatt Millen. So we've strengthened the line of scrimmage. Where else do you think we need help? Well, obviously lots of places, but where else?
What about the guy who's gonna run? We need a quarterback. We know that.
A quarterback. All right.
We need a quarterback.
Click on filter positions. I'm just gonna click on quarterbacks. So now we're gonna just see quarterbacks. And according to PFF, the highest rated quarterback left on the board is Dylan Gabriel, then Jalen Milroe, then Will Howard, then Riley Leonard, then Quinn Ewers, then Kyle McCord. Now, Kyle McCord is my favorite of all of these guys, to be honest.
Wow.
I think he's the third best quarterback in this year's draft. Again, that's just me. But I mean, it's not just me. I mean, I've been reading lately, especially now because he's playing in the East West Shrine Bowl and he's down there practicing right now. And I've been hearing people, rave about how well he's been throwing the ball at the East West Shrine Bowl practices. So if we were going to take a quarterback right now, that's who I take.
He is
Now,
of the guys
how do you feel about
here.
him?
Like I know I don't want Gabriel, and
Mm-hmm.
you know
I
it's
mean,
funny,
Milroe's a great athlete, but is he
right?
a great quarterback?
And the thing is though, Dabo was good at coaching quarterbacks who can move. I mean, he did that.
Yes.
He did,
Yes.
so but Jalen Milroe needs work. He needs work
He's raw. He's raw.
in
He
his
needs work.
passing game. Will Howard,
He needs what he really needs is to sit for another year or to stay in college and play another year. But he obviously has chosen not to stay in college. So he needs to be on a team that has a solid vet who's going to play this year. So, like, if we do sign a Jimmy G or someone like that and let Milroe just sit this year, I think he'd benefit greatly from that.
right, right. Um, I don't like yours. I'm questioning
I
him.
don't like yours. I'm not a
Um,
big fan of Riley Leonard's. I honestly didn't know much about Will Howard to the playoffs. And yes, of course, they won the national championship. He looked good doing it, but I can't say that I know enough about him to make an educated comment on him. But
I like
that
McCord.
doesn't
I
make me
like
want to pick
McCord.
him.
He led the year. He led the NC2A right in passing this year.
Cal McCord?
Yes.
Yeah, Cal McCord led the nation in passing yards, and I think he was top 5 in passing touchdowns. I mean, the man can sling it. He's not especially athletic. I'm going to click on him for a second.
Yeah. Let
He's
me.
not especially athletic. Like he's not going to run for 100 yards and 4 touchdowns. Um, but he's not a little guy. I mean, he's 6'3", 220.
Mm,
That's, that's solid size for a quarterback. Um, I would describe him as mobile, but not especially athletic. Like he's not Eli. He's not going to just stand there and as soon as the pressure comes, fall down because he can't move. That's not who he is. But he's also, not going to. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Lamar. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not that kind of guy.
so will he?
Decently mobile.
Okay. Is he like a Jimmy G then? Or
Maybe that may be a nice comparison for him. Someone, I mean, obviously, you hope he has at least as much success as Jimmy G had. Jimmy G went to a Super Bowl,
right,
uh,
right,
and
right,
with fewer injuries, though, hopefully.
right.
So to me, it comes down to either Jalen Milroe, if you really believe that you need the great athlete, and hope that a year on the bench and with Dable's coaching can turn him into, realize his potential. Or you go with Kyle McCord, who I think is closer to ready. Like I still wouldn't start him week 1, but I
Right.
think he's closer to ready than Jalen Milroe is, and will throw the ball. You won't have to worry about him being afraid to throw the intermediate and deep pass. He likes to do that.
It's funny when you're talking about it. I'm thinking like with Milroe, if he played, it comes down to we look at the Giants. Look at the offensive line right now. He'll be on the move a lot. He'll be probably
He'll have to
ducking,
move a lot.
ducking down and running a lot, taking off.
Right.
Um,
But is that what you want? I mean, a lot of quarterbacks who do that get hurt. Anthony Richardson missed most of last year because he
right.
was running a lot and got hurt.
Let's uh let's let's draft McCord because I'm thinking I'm going to have we talked before. We definitely going to have a bridge quarterback in there. So
Right, right, right. All
and
right.
he and he's
I
going to be
agree.
in the
That's
East
who I
West.
would pick.
He's in the East West Shrine game, isn't he?
Yes, and doing well.
Yeah, we
I'm
can
going to
talk. We
pause this
can
for a second.
we can report on him on our next one.
Exactly. I'm going to pause this just to show you what happened after we picked McCord over here. You see, these are some of the people who got picked after him. Gray Zable's a fairly highly regarded offensive lineman playing for North Dakota State. Small school, but they've been producing like one really good offensive lineman a year in the draft, and I guess he's the one this
He's
year.
the one.
Uh, So there's Landon Jackson. We talked about him
Yes.
as a defensive end. So there's a fair number of people that I would have liked to have had, but you know they're not available anymore. So what we could do is try to make a draft. I'm sorry, a trade anyway, right? So our next pick is 65. What if we wanted to move up? What if we wanted to say grab somebody else in the second round? I'm really just showing you the functionality of the PFF tool right now. Let's see. Let's say we wanted to go with uh, Miami. Miami has a 48th pick. If we wanted the 48th pick and we have the 65th pick,
We gotta give
we would have to
up.
give them something else to make that worth their while, right?
Right.
So actually, Miami is maybe not the best example because they've got a ton of picks. We probably should have picked a team that doesn't have quite as many picks. But for sake of argument, let's say we offered them a third round next year. You see, it says this trade has a 78% chance to be accepted. So the algorithm thinks that Miami would be all over that. So maybe we should ask for something back. So, okay, we're giving him a third, but let's say we asked for a fifth back, right? So we're not, we're basically letting them trade up 2 rounds.
Okay.
So that has a 57% chance of being accepted. And so let's try that trade. Let's offer that trade. Trade was not accepted. So it lets you try up to 4 more times. I'm going to say, let's just resume the draft. Never mind. You didn't like my trade offer. We're moving on. But again, that shows you the functionality of what PFF.com's mock draft simulator can do. There goes Xavier Restrepo.
Oh no. That was the next guy I was gonna pull. I wanna
It's Jordan Burson, defensive end I like. Um, yeah, so we're watching people go off the board that in many cases are people we might have wanted. All right, so just a reminder, I'm going to click on your picks again. What do we have so far? We have Mason Graham, we have White Millen, we have Kyle McCord. So a defensive lineman, an offensive lineman, and a quarterback. Now, not that you necessarily have to draft by position by any means. Like sometimes you just got to take the best guy there. But is there a position that you feel strongly that we need to address that we haven't addressed yet?
I need a cornerback. I need
All right. Let's see if I click over here on cornerbacks.
somebody in a
Let's see
second.
who's left. So Zion Alexander from LSU is one of those guys they are considering, that you hear a lot of people talk about as a solid prospect. Again, not that I believe that PFF is the be all end all with their ratings, but they rate him as an 80, almost 82 in coverage and about a 69 in run defense. And its overall grade was 81 this year. Physically, he is 6'2", 195, more or less. That's pretty long for a cornerback. That 6'2", pretty long. That's pretty good. 195 is not bad. That's a solid size for a cornerback.
Yeah.
So here, that's someone who, there's Denzel Burke from Ohio State, who, if you're looking for a cornerback, especially in round 3, that may not be a bad option.
I like him.
But that's cornerback. Let's see what other,
what about
Paul? Some more beef on the line, on the defensive line, Alfred Collins, and the offensive line, Aaron Tay Ursery. I'm not sure how you say Aaron Tay's first name. Maybe it's Arante, whatever his name is, Mr. Ursery. I've heard a lot of people talking about, but we already have another offensive line.
Milroe's still there.
Milroe's still there. Deion Walker is this guy's like physically huge nose tackle.
Is he a defensive tackle?
Yes. And he's 6'6", 345, wow. So he's a big boy. But we already picked Mason Graham, so I don't know that we necessarily need another one of those. But had we not got Mason Graham, he might be somebody to consider.
Let me ask you, is there any receivers from Ohio State on here? Because they got nothing but. That's like receiver you.
It's like the 4x1 team.
Right.
Let's see. There's Utah State Tech. Isaiah Bond from Texas is considered a pretty good prospect. I don't see anybody from Ohio State.
Nobody.
And I'm down to pick number
ranking
number 180.
No, they really
So yeah, it doesn't look like the Ohio State receivers
no.
are left if there were any. Um, well, Emeka Egbuka was definitely one, but he probably went
He
maybe
went
first
earlier.
round.
He went earlier.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that.
Uh, any other positions that you feel you want to take a look at?
Uh, what do we
Again, obviously we can use help in a lot of places, but
who which linebacker? No. What safety you got? Look at the safety position.
okay. You know, my favorite safety. Oh, he's still here. Nick Manwari.
Yeah,
That's my favorite safety. In fact, I
yeah.
I can't see him lasting to the third round in the real draft. I think by the time the draft comes around, people are going to see this is a guy who they list him at like 228, 230, and running a 4.38 40.
That
You know, like
safety?
6'2, 6'3, almost 240, running a 4.38 40, tackling machine, right? He's got a lot of tackles and doesn't have a very high missed tackle rate. He's somebody that you can play at strong safety or linebacker, you know, that hybrid, what they call money backer
Mm,
role.
mm.
He's a chess piece. I would love to add him. I'm surprised he's still here in the third round. Honestly, I would tell you that's the best value we can get at pick 65 of the people that are still left.
Get him. Can we get him? Can we?
Yeah, that's good. Again, in real life, I don't think he makes it to the third round. But, you know, and you see right here, it says you have no more picks. Again, we said we wanted to do a 3 round mock. If we paused it, we could offer somebody else a trade. Like we could have another pick, but we don't have any more picks left unless we make a trade. So I'm going to say, fine, as you see people coming off the board. I think we've done well.
First, yeah, this is
Covered Donovan Jackson. I liked him from Ohio State. He played guard for the first few years, but they had to put him at left tackle this year because of injuries, and he held his own at left tackle. But I think he's really going to be a guard in the league, and a good guard. I think he's a very good player.
great. Not draft.
Okay, so
McCourt.
PFF gives you feedback. It says, okay, you drafted Kyle McCord, but you probably should have drafted Donovan Ezeruko. I don't know how to say his name, the edge rusher. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not, we need a quarterback. So thanks, but no thanks. And then it gives you a letter grade on your picks. It said Mason Graham was an A minus. They kind of sort of like that pick. It said Wyatt Millen was an A minus. They are all out on Kyle
Yeah, I was
McCord
we really reached on that one. They're
in the
saying
second
now.
round. And they were fair to middling on Nick Manwari in the third round. So overall, they gave our draft a B because we got AAFC, A minus, FC. So I guess they consider that averaging out to about a B.
Can we bring this
Now,
home?
again,
Could you actually bring this home with your parents and said this is my report card?
I could not walk in my door with that F, so the F's not going to get done. I'm not sure I could bring the C home, but I definitely couldn't bring the F home.
No.
In fact, I don't know what I'm talking about. I know I couldn't bring the C home. That would not fly. But PFF is a very good mock simulator. I just wanted to kind of share that with us, share with you and with our audience, and let them see how this works if they haven't used it before. And I'm pleased with this all. If you told me this was going to be our actual draft, that we would make a trade back to 6 so that we could pick up a second round pick and a swap next year so that we wind up with an extra first round pick. Now, we're not going to have that second round pick next year, but we'll have 2 firsts. I'd be thrilled with that, especially if you then told me that Mason Graham was still on the board anyway, because there's a reasonable chance we might have took Mason Graham at 3. So now we just have this extra stuff in addition, and we still wind up with Mason Graham. And like I said, I think Wyatt Millen is the best offensive lineman in this draft. I think Nick Manwari is way better than a third round pick. So for my money, this was a great
Good.
call,
This is,
but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, this was Football Weather Fellows all about Big Blues 1.0, my draft 1.0. And
yes, this was the first of many. We're gonna do this again.
yeah, definitely, because definitely after the East-West, Shrine game, we can come back and reevaluate what we saw, and I think
Right.
we'll do like a
Right.
quick analysis on the East-West Shrine game and talk about who might have increased their value and who might have like hurt their value.
Right. Right. Who moved up the board? Who moved down the board?
Right, right. And if we could, I believe you said also we can look at some of the practices. Would that be this week then? Shouldn't they have practices
Yeah.
on?
No, the practices are happening right now, and we're going to go take a look at some of the footage of those practices and report back to people what we saw and what we've heard and what we liked and didn't like.
I'm
The
going to really
game
be
is this
looking at
weekend.
McCord though. I'm really going to be looking at him now. It's definitely,
McCord is there, and from what I'm hearing, he's doing work. So
yeah, that's what we need. I just need the guy because he can sling it. I know I've seen film on him. I know he can sling it, and he
he's
looks like
led the
somebody
nation
that can
in
move
passing
around.
yards. And it's not like he was on a team like LSU has had over the years, with like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on the same team, or Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors on the same team. He
Right.
was on a okay Syracuse team, and he just lit it up. Just lit it up.
That works for me. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens when we get to 2.0. We get to the next mock draft.
Absolutely,
I like
absolutely.
this though. I like it. I like doing this. This is good.
This is good, and maybe we'll try a different simulator next time. Like we could use PFF sometimes, we could use different ones sometimes. We'll see. We'll explore them and decide which one we want to share with our audience. But we at least know how PFF works now, and we
Right.
see that we can use that if we need to.
I have
Again,
a
shout
feeling.
out to PFF.
Let me tell you something. I have a feeling we got some people who are watching and they're going, Cal McCord? They're probably on YouTube right now, looking at him and saying, let me see who this guy is.
Right, right, right. I'm
And
glad
that's
you
fine.
said that, because really, that's part of why I like doing mock drafts, is because there's a lot of names that are going to come up, and I'm going to say, who's that? And then I start doing some homework on that person. I'm like, oh, okay, or really? But yeah, there's a lot of names that I haven't heard before until I started doing mock drafts, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna check this guy out, and
Right.
now I know a little bit more about a lot of people. But you're right. I'm sure some of the people watching are gonna say, Kyle McCord, no, that was a bad pick. Or who will say you shouldn't have traded back. You should have just picked, Travis Hunter at 3. So you can't make everybody happy.
No, that's okay. But hey, let us know. What do you think? What do you think about 1.0? What do you think about 1.0, the players that we picked? Would you have picked the same ones, or who would you have taken? Leave that information in our comments and let us know what you think about. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. As always, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. And who am I here with?
It's your man Mayzo, all about Big Blue. Hey, it's off season time. We look, we're not having the off season blues, all right? We're not sad. We're not totally sad. We see us, we're happy. This is our Super Bowl right now.
Absolutely.
We're trying to put our team back together. So, hey, we appreciate you being here with us. Thanks a lot. We appreciate your comments and your support. We appreciate you also liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. All right? Again, as we always say in parting, peace. Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.